Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Final Fantasy IV free enterprise randomizer race. I am Ivalon, and I am here with Antidel on this beautiful day here to commentate this race for you. We got a Stone Dingley on the left side and Zyrak on the right side. They're going to be putting on a great show for us tonight, and I hope you guys are all ready because looks like we have some very interesting objectives tonight. Wouldn't you say, Antidel?
Yeah, we're gonna be looking for a Baron Key, the Hook, a Pink Tail, and then Darkness Fields will get up to the moon. We could also be looking for Adamant and Legend, so we can forage. But definitely gonna need some key items here. Like to see that Golden Cane as a starting character. Kane's got a lot of utility. You can give him a Gunter Spear and pretty much have him jump all the way through the beginning of the seed. There aren't too many bosses that make him worried about anything else. And it's gonna be a really interesting race with these two and one racers. Both of them we're kind of looking at a 3-3 with a great strength of schedule, might get you into the top 16, but probably both of them looking to go 2-1 in their next two races, or the next races overall, in order to get to 4-2 and have a really good shot at getting into top 16.
Getting in the top 16 and this kind of tournament seems like a really hard thing to accomplish. And we have what I've seen so far to be a couple of very skilled racers. So uh, definitely looking forward to seeing exactly what kind of evilness or also goodness this seed could bring to these two people. See how their skills can be put to the test in these getting very close to um, where their placements are going to be as far as top 16 goes.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. Stone Dingley has been a little bit of a newer runner. He had been kind of coming on during the Football Gauntlet and played in a bunch of different of the community club races and stuff afterwards. And Zayek has been a pretty old hand. I think he's been playing for quite a while. I think he was in both Threemus Zone 1 and 2. So definitely have a good balance of experience, different approaches probably. Definitely be interested to see this race get underway here.
Taking a look at the naming conventions on Stone's side. Speaking of Stone, looks like he's got a nice little TF2. Uh, I don't understand what the BL man is, but I know everything else on there.
Well, you definitely one up on me there. I don't think I played any of Team Fortress stuff. But definitely Poor Ms. Medic is good. And switching over from those names into the new game screen probably means that 15 minutes ago, uh, Stone Dingley saw Groundflyer typing as Groundflyer would have been dropping the gate. Remember that the runners are on a 15-minute delay, so they have already been about 15 minutes advanced into the seed, and we're just kind of catching up and watching it as it goes along.
hmm Um, looking forward to seeing who the character is with Kane because I don't know that it tells you that at the start here, does it? You just get to see who the Golden Kane is at the new game screen.
Correct. We'll know the starting character here. We'll get the chance to pick up that second character when they show up here, as we also get our starting key item. But yeah, we'd be looking for, hey, that's a good start.
That
Rosa.
is a very good start, Rosie Kane. It's funny
And
that we immediately get the Baron key. That's interesting.
we get probably my favorite start in the entire game is the "Come at me, bro." Some flavor of Mylon says, "I know I'm locked behind this key, but here you go. Uh, come at
Take this
me."
key, see if you
When
can do it.
it does get us a little bit of loot in the early waterway. Also unlocks the Baron weapon and armor shops, which have in T Pro the better gear. We can get up to tier 4 stuff, so we can see maybe an ogre axe or a cursed ring, which are really nice to find. But those will be a little expensive first, so probably going to do a little looting to start.
Yeah, treasure hunting, maybe starting off at Baron going to Damsian. Um, do we have free characters in this flag set? Is there anything else interesting about this flag set besides the permanently joining party members, which has been something that I've been seeing in these past few races?
We do indeed have free characters. We have still the standard character set as well as the maybe flag turned on. So not everyone is going to show up. Fusei is turned off entirely, but we do have free characters on. So we'll see dips into Watery Passing a character, dips into Mysidia characters, and we do have the buy flag turned off. So that does mean that any character will go to the Tower of Wishes to be recruited later. And also with the T Pro and S Pro flags, we do have elevated treasure. So in 3.0 and 4.0 and 4.1, you get a little bit better treasure when you have the pro or wildish flags on for treasure, which means that if it's a place that you don't normally go or maybe has trapped chests, the tiering of that that place gets a little bit higher, so you can find some better quality gear. We could find stuff like a heron robe or an ogre axe here, or even some better stuff. We found like dragoon armor is really solid. I could find a gunjer spear. We could, I think, even high roll like even a defense sword out of this place. So
Oh
you can get some
geez.
really nice gear in this watery pass that like in Zima Zone 2, no one ever went to because there isn't that much treasure and it's kind of spread out. Here, it's still kind of spread out, but it's better than you might see in other places.
Yeah, taking a few seconds out of your way to find something that could be a white or Gungnir spear, as you've been saying, is definitely a lot better than could save you a few minutes after only taking like maybe a minute to do so. Looks like Stone opted out of the second cane. Maybe both of our runners did. I wasn't too sure, but I did see a second cane there in the watery passage. Stone making his way to the backside to grab some more loot. Let's see what Zyrak ends up doing with his diversion here, or if he ends up going the same way as Stone.
Pretty typical to see people do both sides of the watery pass. Zyrak looks to be going in, doing a quick weapon shop, probably looking for arrows or a bow for Rosa. Black sword and poison claw are
Instead, just finding a
definitely.
bunch of claws and a sword.
Yeah, those are nice to keep in mind in case we do get a Cecil. The archer bow is a nice bow for Rosa. We won't find a better one for sale in ungated shops,
Oh
so
man,
that is good to pick up.
two
Um,
canes and two roses is what we've seen so far. Checking that sand ruby room.
yeah, we've definitely seen people have a preference for one melee character, a bunch of mages, and a Tella, but that requires us to actually find a Tella. Um, Going with a couple of white mages and some berserkers too also works out really well because we do have no easy way to get Bacchus wine in this flag set. Bacchus wine is a tier 5 item, which means it can only show up in shops in Kakol's shop, and you only get 4 items on a Kakol, and he's got a big list of stuff you can pull from, so it's pretty hard to get him there.
Yeah. And even if the things that we do see in Cocal Shop are probably going to be relatively expensive, as is Bacchus wines included. So you don't want to have to bank on that to find some items that you're looking for.
We find an engineer up in Dempsey, and I think perhaps he had an experiment go wrong, and he's blown up the castle, and that's why it's all in ruins. I
Don't tell Tella.
mean, Tella might be happy, who knows? But we do get into the waterfall. We get the fiend of
Ugh,
fire
yep.
cooling off there a little bit. We're just gonna leave him there. That's all good.
Rubicante taking a nice, well-deserved bath after wiping out all of Eblin, and then filling up all their treasure chests with monsters. Are we taking a dip into the backside of Hobbs to see who our character is on Stone's side? Looks like it, and it's a third cane being guarded by either Baron guards or Kaipo, or is it Kaipo guards? Who is? It was. I think that was Baron guards.
It was either one. We don't know quite yet, since that's a spot that only shows us one of the sprites. We will only see that it was the blue guard form. If it was like the watery pass or the waterfall, we'd see all the sprites available for it, so we'd be able to tell the difference. But we're gonna nope out of that. Be a little bit sad that one of those free bosses is out of the pool at a place that we don't really need the XP for.
Yeah. Oh, and another Rosa. That's a third Rosa this seed on top mount ordeals. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean that's we're starting to get actually a pretty good party if we really wanted to and go heavy into melee and zerking.
Yeah.
Two
Having a
Rosas, two Aces, and the Sid is pretty solid.
yeah, even Rosa, not exactly known for her melee capabilities, but still really good Zerker. If you give her an Artemis bow and some good arrows, she can take down that Z fight pretty quickly. Looks like we have a third Kane and Sid at Mysidia.
Ground
So
Flyer,
two Sids, three Canes.
you know there's more than 3 characters available in the pool, right? When you randomize this, you didn't just turn everyone else off too.
Rolled the D4 when deciding which characters are going to be put in this seed. Because didn't we see someone else? No, it's just been Kane, Rosa, and Sid.
Yep,
I
we're
was wondering if we had seen someone else like a twin, but nope, only at the start screen.
Rune Ring is a very nice pickup. Rune Ring giving you +3 to each magic stat, as well as getting mage defense. They're really expensive to buy, so it also will sell for about 10,000. But it's a very nice pickup for that Rosa.
From what I understand, they're about as good as you can get without finding a protector or crystal ring. If I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
They are definitely one of those pieces of gear that you're looking for. It has really good defense as well as those stat boosts. Has pretty much the same defense as a diamond ring. You do lose the lightning resistance, which can come in handy sometimes, but I really overall prefer the mage resistance. It helps you so much with fighting an early Asura or fighting Asura anywhere, as well as Mad Ogre chest if we have to do the hook route and want a little XP.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is a free but tedious fight at Antlion's spot. Well, I guess it's free depending on the spot that it is in, and in this spot it is most certainly free, especially with a Sid there to do quadruple damage with his hammers against the machine types, which both Balnab and Dr. Luge are once he hops into his machine form. Or he won't even get there because Sid's got a hammer.
Yeah, Sid absolutely demolishing that. Rosa with a good crit too on the good doctor in the first fight. This spot only has about 800 to 1,000 HP total, and then it gets split among 4 forms, so each one has got very little HP. We get a Bahamut summon, which is a nice tier 7 item if we find Rydia.
Yeah, and Rydia would be a nice character to see. Rydia or Palom, really. Having a black mage is very helpful for getting your Quake on and helping take out those fights where there's more than just one enemy to deal with. Also, Quake is just a really good non-elemental spell. It deals a lot of damage. It's very nice to have on hand at pretty much any stage in the game. Goes underneath Reflect, so it can set up for some good wall strats, etc.
And it doesn't take a penalty to being multi-targeted like most other spells do. Quake's really solid, and that Bahamut summon pretty much gives you a reason to take Rydia over Palom, because Rydia alerts Quake so much later. But if you have the power of a Dragon God on your side, let's go. And Zyrak does give us a
Zyrak, the commentator's champion, letting us know that it's the Kaipo guards on top of Mount Hobbs. And I guess the people's champion in general for letting us know exactly what bosses we don't need to look for as the runners continue throughout this run.
That ups the importance of that rune ring a little bit because the Baron guards are actually mages, because they do all that casting at you once you hit them with magic or melee spells. So it definitely will be nice to know that that's there. And we get the plethora of arrows. We get some lit arrows and some fire arrows. Lit ones will be really nice for Rosa, especially since this team is kind of looking like if we're going to grind, we're going to do a Mac Giant so far.
Yep. With Sid dealing the quad damage and no promise of Atella quite yet for that nice early weak spell. Definitely want to have some lightning arrows on hand to help deal some damage, help Sid out in clearing out those Mac Giants.
And Zarek also spend the money for that Flame Spear. Upgrade to the Spear, gives King elemental damage and just a little bit more attack power. The plain spear that he gets is the highest accuracy spear, but this is also a terrible weapon for damage. Definitely, it's worth it to buy that plain spear. It is the best one we can find in ungated overworld shops as well.
Yep. Both our runners are going into Fabul here to start this gauntlet up. It looks like the Mages Sisters is the fight that we're gonna have here. Still gonna want to find a better weapon for Kayn though, regardless of it's a great spear to have on hand for these early bosses, but there will be some elemental resistances possibly that we're gonna have to get over, and fire is one of those. So definitely don't want Kayn to be gimped for a fight like that.
Yeah, and a heads up play from Zyrak to take out Mindy right away. Those level 2 elemental spells are going to be some pretty bad news for this team overall. We saw Sid taking the first one for about 189, so we're going to take out Rosa from each one of those. And when the virus comes out in the 4th round, it's absolutely going to take out one of the characters if she's around. So definitely going to want to keep Mindy out of the rotation as long as we possibly can.
Stone using a J item to help clear that Mindy out a little bit faster, and it looks like he's going to get done with this fight at just a little bit either before or after Zyrak does. Looks like Zyrak's got a little bit more damage. Oh! Both the Kayn and the Sid getting charmed on either side. Looks like because of that, Stone is going to finish this just a couple seconds before Zyrak does.
Yeah, but pretty neck and neck. No runner having any particular advantage quite yet.
If anything, Stone has mere seconds on Zyrak, but they've both done relatively the same amount of checks, and it all just comes down to who's going to get that blowout item first.
And love seeing that Magma Key gets us underground access pretty fast. I'm sure both runners breathing a huge sigh of relief for doing this simple check. We'll be able to drop that key down the aggro well, get access to even more locations, get a couple of freebie checks, and some really good treasure, possibly.
Not only that, but it also lets us peep at Sheila 1's first item if we don't end up finding a pan down there as one of the freer checks. And we get to see who our Feymarch bosses are, and we get to see if we get another party member at the Dwarf Castle that's worth anything, especially if that boss or those bosses are at a free spot. Looks like Zyrak is going to be taking a quick check at Ordeals, though, while Stone finishes up some shopping, it seems.
Still continuing the arrow check, white arrows are good for if that Mylon that handed us the Baron Key is Mylon Z. Those white arrows will actually do 8 times damage against him because it hits both of his weaknesses, which would be really nice to have. Could it be something that you think about? Also finding Star Veils and Thor Ridges in that shop. Both of those are guaranteed in an overworld shop just because there's various rude bosses that can pretty much ruin your day if you don't have access to them. So we make sure that you at least have a choice for them.
Ooh, lightsaber on Mount Ordeals could make Cecil a bit of a nice choice if he ends up getting seen somewhere in the underworld or even on the moon if we have to. Well, we do have to go to the moon, so if we see him on the moon, it might be worth thinking about taking him. Plague on top of Mount Ordeals in the first spot is not nearly as bad as it could be if he was in the second spot. That second spot being a back attack, he gets to go immediately, and your party's sitting there for a few seconds while the death timer ticks down. But in this spot, with Kane able to exploit the weakness, it's not too bad.
Still gonna move on though. But anyway, I do think we found a siren ground flyer, our reach streamer says, up on Ordeals. So that would also kind of incentivize me to ditch Ordeals straight underground if I had the ability to actually take out one of those eggs right away. But we are through that plague fight.
Zyrak finishing that at the last second. Death timers were on 0. Nobody had quite dropped yet, but Kane got that one last jump in for just a little under 1,000 damage, finishing off that plague. And a mom bomb gonna be in the second spot here. It's unfortunate, but they're all in the back row. They should be fine.
Should be all right. They explode, and then actually the thing we pretty much have to worry about the most is all the bombs exploding at the end if we don't kill them fast enough. We don't have any good way of sweeping them out.
Unless he held on to that, unless Zyrak held on to the J item. I don't know if he found the same J item that Stone did, though. Stone found a blizzard somewhere earlier in the seed.
I haven't seen it in Zyrak's inventory the last couple times you scrolled through it, so it's one of those you'll have to pay attention and make sure he knocks some of those little bomblets out, just so that he does not have to fight all 6 of them and have them explode all over the party, because that could ruin his day.
Yeah, might be a good idea to target the weaker ones first, just so that if they do end up exploding, you're only taking the brunt from 3 bombs. Self-destruct damage should be relatively similar, maybe a little bit higher, but not by too much.
On Dingley, checking the job dwarf, I think it was a carpet installer or something like that, but also a grimoire in the back chest there. Carpet maintainer, Pepita says. Finding black belt shirts in the shop too. That's really nice. Giving it plus strength, as well as a dwarf axe and an elven bow. That's nice stuff in Tamra.
Yeah, Tamra's good. That's great loot, definitely. I even saw some long swords in there, a little bit expensive, but if we find an edge, that'll be worth it too. So not even just gearing for the current party we have, but also if we do find an edge, we have gear for the party that we might want to see as well. Especially if we can find a black mage or a Tella on top of some other good melee physical attacker like an edge or a Cecil with that lightsaber that we found on Ordeals.
And Zyrak does have the bombs out, has taken 2 of them out so far.
Focusing down one at a time, it seems, doing very well at doing so.
Yeah, so with only 2 left, he is safe.
Nice. Someone's going to live through this, and it looks like even if Kane takes 2, there's going to be 2 people living. Second bomb hasn't self-destructed yet, though. Curious. Did they not do it at the same time? I thought they did.
Normally do. That might have been a little bit of an ATB shenanigan there, where it just didn't have wasn't queued up in the same order as the others. But Zyrak is through.
Oof, Earth Crystal on at the back or at the key item chest in the Fey March, which isn't too terrible, but that's a very long check. It does get you a key item and a couple of characters at the end of it, but you still got to go through some bosses in a very long, tedious dungeon.
Let's get access to the treasury, which in T Pro is weighted. It's pretty much the highest weighted place that is not guarded by trap chests as well. Ooh, and a curse ring there in the Game March item or armor shop. That's really nice to see also.
Yep, especially if we do end up taking a Cecil, like I've been mentioning. Curse Ring is going to make that a little bit better for an agility anchor because he's going to be the person that determines the speed of Zeromus and also pretty much the entire game. Could be worthwhile to pick one up now that we see that Curse Ring, but anyone with a Curse Ring in the center spot is going to make for a good agility anchor. Golbez and a Lunar Sparkle in the down in the Fey March, while Zyrak is taking on Octomammoth in the right, or Octomom in the right, where otherwise Octomom would be a pretty horrible boss to fight in somewhere like a Lunar spot, but seeing it in Ordeals is a lot better than it could be.
And both that Golbez and the Ogopogo are in awful spots for them. Ogopogo actually would be a little bit worse than Leviathan spot, but Golbez and Leviathan is terrible just because the magic there is pretty bad. So you can't just pop Star Veils early and get a free 35,000 XP out of that spot, because you have to do so much extra supplemental damage there. And Ogopogo is just really rude anywhere in the Fey March. That double wave attack to open is kind of nasty and will punch very hard. Zarek is done with Ordeals, does just get a gold apple for the trouble. The best thing up here is probably the experience and the Siren that was picked up, frankly.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I still think that, the thing about Ogopogo in that spot too is that I don't know. Does Ogopogo have any physical attacks? Because I know that he does his Blaze attack, which is I think he only does it if you hit him with magic. He counters with the Blaze attack, but without an overabundance. Oh, sorry.
Ogopogo does do physical attacks. They'll open with that double big wave to knock you down to half damage, half health from your max, and then we'll do I think 3 punches and then do another big wave that's a quarter of your health. So Ogopogo is pretty rude there. We'll take quite a number of levels before we're actually able to take out Ogopogo at either of those 2 spots.
I see. And Asura is incredibly hard-hitting on the physical attacks as well, and pretty fast as is. So without an overabundance of items or some way to quickly blink your party, that's a pretty tough spot to do incredibly early without at least a few levels under your belt and some decent spells that you can use for some grimy strats.
Yeah, you'd want to be able to kind of survive long enough to get a Star Veil on someone and bounce spells, because those counter punches from the Blaze, or in case you use a lightning spell, you'll just get a single target weak. Won't actually happen if you bounce the spell off of a Veil first. Sheila just gives Stone Dingley just a Ninja Star though, so that's going to be sold, I am pretty sure.
Yeah. Haven't seen an edge yet, and I think he actually reset out of it. I think he was very annoyed with Sheila not having the goods, at least not immediately. Might need to wake up Yang before we get anything good out of Sheila.
Yeah, when Dingley knows that he has that Earth Crystal just sitting there, you don't need the 20,000 or so that you get from selling a Ninja Star. It's probably going to save you time just to reset back down and not have to walk that out.
Yeah. And I mean, with that Earth Crystal, he's probably gonna get a whole bunch of stuff better than a Ninja Shuriken anyways. Even if he did want it for the money, he's gonna find something better right now, and if he doesn't end up using it, it'll be worth the money that it sells for, so.
And neither runner feels very comfortable going into Baron Castle quite yet, it seems, both avoiding it even though it's one of our objectives. One of the kind of cardinal rules of this tournament has been, if you want to go fast, you really kind of want to do your objectives first.
Yep. Not quite going for the Baron Castle key yet, though. I think the boss that's in there is probably a little bit too hard for our runners at this point in time. Wow, finding some very good items for all kinds of people in there. Based on the armor front, I didn't really see much by way of weapons.
Yeah, but what's to me was really important is getting 2 coffins out of there. We found a Siren, so when Zyrak goes up to get the Earth Crystal from the free Frame Arch chest, and then goes to check out that treasury, he'll actually be able to summon that Siren and get a good bit of levels on his party. He maybe thinks about waiting for a little bit because you don't have someone like Palom where you really so very desperately want the levels as early as possible to get him that Quake spell we talked about earlier. But Rosa getting Blink and Berserk is very, very important.
Did find a Gungnir for Kane there. That's going to serve him very well along with that ninja hat and the black belt gi. Very nice items for Kane inside of that treasury. What do people rate that treasury at? 3 out of 10 we see from man in the chat.
Yeah, I think that a little bit more. The coffins, because we already had the Sirens nice, we saw Life Staff as well, so that's top tier end game gear for Rosa with that white magic stat cycle gives her plus 15 to the white magic stat, and it's really nice to see. But it wasn't an earth-shattering treasury, but we kind of all have to remember to rate everything down a little bit, just because we're on T-Pro, not T-Wildish, and we won't see the absolutely nutso treasuries that we did earlier.
Yeah, not going to be fighting any adamant armors anytime soon, that's for sure.
They are indeed turned off entirely, so we won't see one period. If we do turn in the Pinktail, we'll get a tier 7 item, so it's a Crystal Sword, or an Excalibur, or a White Shirt. I believe an Avenger might be in that pool. Dragoon Spear, so really good stuff, just not going to be an adamant armor.
Yep. The twin that is in the Baron Inn, I just have now realized is Porum, which is why our runners were probably a little bit more hesitant than usual to go straight for that twin, because it's not going to be a great kid. Got the orange shirt, Porum orange. That's how I remember it, anyways.
Yep, same here. We got an Evil Wall blocking King Queen Evelyn, so that's a great spot for Evil Wall. Only for 400 HP, is down very fast, and now we just kind of can sit here a little bit, or we're gonna probably take out the King.
Yang is not exactly known for his magical prowess, so the spot that this fight is in isn't gonna have the best magic damage. First enemy falls in this boss fight though, King going down pretty quickly, and then Queen Evelyn just kind of dies.
Once her husband leaves, she's like, peace out, I don't need to fight you either. And so we only had to do 2,000 points of damage. We do get a Pinktail. Half of an objective. Now we're just looking for a way to Threemus.
So looking for a Darkness Crystal, or, well, we do need a Darkness Crystal as is, unless we can find that Legend Sword and Adamant Armor, or not Adamant Armor, Adamant Rock, in which case you can just find the pass and go straight to Z. But at least as far as, my preference would be get that Darkness Crystal so that I can do a little bit of extra leveling without the need of Sirens on the moon. But yeah, it is very good to find a Pinktail there, because now we have basically two of our objectives done, and now you can do whatever you want pretty much as far as your grind fights go, if you can get that Darkness Crystal anyways.
Zone Dingley sees that we do have Earth Hammers for sale in the Baron armor shop. So that'll be a nice upgrade for Sid, especially if we go in to do a Mag Giant grind. They're a little bit cheaper than Ogre Axes, so they're definitely nice to pick up if you can. Meanwhile, Zyark is going after this Golbez. Going to need quite a bunch of Star Veils to actually get through this if he's able to. Just again, as we said earlier, Golbez's magic power here in the Leviathan spot is actually going to be pretty weak.
Yeah, Leviathan doesn't exactly cast a lot of spells. He mostly has he has his waves, and he can cast some. Does he cast the Ice 2? No, it's Ogopogo cast the Ice 2s. I think other than that, he wails on you.
Leviathan does do the Ice 2s. That's his shtick, is to Big Wave and then Ice 2, but the game is very nice to you. It does not make those Ice 2s terribly difficult.
Yeah, Leviathan is actually probably like one of the easier fights in the game as far as the summon fights are concerned. Fighting Asura and Leviathan and Bahamut.
Yeah, aren't too many places in the randomizer where you're actually scared of Leviathan if you have any time to prepare. Early on, those Ice 2s, especially in some rude spots like Valis' normal spot, or the back attack spot on Ordeals, he can be awfully rude, but here, not too bad. But we do finally gonna get a look at which flavor of Mylon was handing us that Baron Key.
He was very Oh. It's the Mylon with his entourage, so not the best fight in the world, but not the worst. Our engineer does have an earth hammer, so those zombies probably aren't going to really get to do much there.
Yeah, is able to do that as a low-level Quake, doing about 200 points to everything. Pretty much the worst part of this fight is just that Mylon's going to counter everything with a lit 1. Not going to do a lot of damage to anyone in the party, just going to be slow and obnoxious.
Very tedious fight this one is, especially because, you know, Mylon, well, Baigan, the spot that this originally is, doesn't really have a lot of magic power either, so, of course, Mylon's not going to get hit for a lot with those lightning spells, but man, is he going to do a lot of them.
It's not like lit 1 can cap out of that much damage either, so anywhere you fight Mylon, he's not going to be too terribly annoying. He's not very scary, except very early. A full defense can be kind of rude, even if you don't have enough damage to kind of power through, the top of Hobbs can be a little obnoxious too.
On Zyrak's side, he actually did get a Star Veil off on that Rosa, and it looks like he's going to get a decent bit of damage out here. I don't see him trying to pick up any of his other party members. Probably isn't going to be too terribly worth it, especially with how fast Golbez is firing off these spells. He might end up killing himself before Rose is able to even use a life potion on anybody else.
Yeah, you do have through 35,000 HP, though I believe it's about that. Before that Star Veil wears off, and you have to remember to actually attack Golbez, because just reflected damage won't kill him. You have to actually initiate some on your own. So Zyrak does get the good cast here, and might be able to switch the Star Veil onto Kane in time.
Ooh, using the run buffer there to get that Star Veil on him. Very nice.
He's got to go 2 for 2 here.
Oh, feels bad.
Kane bites the virus. Probably has to try one more time in order to get through this fight, because the Star Veil does wear out at some point.
Water Hag at the Baron King spot. That's pretty funny. Or I guess the Kainatsu spot. But
yep, Throne is still all wet. Kane again gets another virus to the face. I bet if Zyrak is not able to get through this, he's going to feel awfully behind.
I would too. I mean, spending this long on a Golbez fight just to end up losing after so long. I don't know how much damage our good friend has taken here so far, but if I had to guess, I'd say that at least one swing from either Rosa or Kane should do it at this point. He's been waiting a while.
He's getting pretty close. Kane getting that up is huge. Now, even if we haven't done quite enough damage yet, if Rosa's wall does fall off, we will be able to get there.
We do have Quakes. Or at
that
least
is
for Quakes.
Yeah, that is huge for Stone Dingley. Very nice to see. Palom will help the Max Giant grind as well if we do that. And I believe he has not gone to Ordeal, so doesn't have that Siren yet, but could go up there pretty soon.
He did say no, however, to taking the Palom right this second. I just saw he did hit the no button on that Palom, so he will have to go back to Miss City at the Tower of Wishes to grab himself a Quake Kid, but still having the offer on hand is very nice. We have one of each twin now. Oh, and we're picking up the hook as well, so that's 2 objectives done immediately with liberating Baron Castle being completed and also having the hook to trade away the pink tail. All you have to do is go pick up his hovercraft, and that's another objective complete, as well as another free key item, basically.
It won't be a key item, it'll just be a very good tiered item. But Baron...
Oh yeah, the pink tail, sorry. It's the pink tail, not the rat tail, my mistake.
Yep, and we do see that Rosa's Star Veil had worn off, but probably by the time before Kane's Star Veil wears off, we will get this Golbez down, I imagine.
There it is. As soon as you say it, commentator's blessing this time around. Getting a Dragoon Spear from the pink tail, very nice. And also getting 5 levels on Kane on the right side. Both things, very nice.
Yeah,
it's a good
very,
day for Kane.
Love seeing that Dragoon Spear. Don't love that Rune Axe as much. Zarek probably making gestures at his television screen.
Is Kane can't use, or not Kane? Isn't the Rune Axe like one of the better items for Sid?
pretty good item, but just for the amount of time that you just sank into that, you were really hoping to get something like the Darkness Crystal out of that fight for doing it so early and taking the time. Levels are nice, but probably not quite worth it.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. He is kind of stuck with the Sid though. Oh, screw it.
I would prefer to have that Ogre Axe that's there, especially we've mentioned a couple times the Mac Giant grind where you can manipulate or figure out what encounter seed you're on and make sure that you get a single searcher fight up in the Diamond Pebble once we do find that Darkness Crystal. And those Mac Giants count as giants, and Ogre Axes give you extra damage against giants. So that'll be something that will be very nice for Kane and Sid to equip during that fight, help him kill those a little bit faster.
That is very true. For the Z fight, the raw numbies are probably a little bit better on the Rune Axe, but he did sell it off to make room for that Ogre Axe, like you were saying. So I think his priorities are a little bit heavier on the grind fight as opposed to the Z fight, which it should be.
And the numbers kind of they end up getting pretty close to each other as you get up in level. The Ogre Axe is one-handed, so you get a shield out of it, and it's more accurate, even though it does a little bit less damage at the top numbers. So until you get to like level 60 or so, I kind of personally prefer Rune Axe, just for consistency of damage, if nothing else. But we've mentioned Asura a couple times. We've seen the Maga Sisters. We mentioned those Baron guards. The Rune Axe does do extra damage against mage-type enemies, which all of them are. So it is a nice thing to have.
Yeah. So and in Eblon, or at least the underground passageway to the Tower of Babil, one of the once you get into the Tower of Babil, the trap chest there is Mad Ogres. And the Ogre Axe is going to hurt the Mad Ogres all the same, but having both on hand so that you can equip one onto Kane, one onto Sid, because you don't have the luxury of affording both at this current point in time, still pretty nice. Having the options, but going to Mysidia, finally checking those two characters on Zyrak's side, he sees the third Sid and the Kane, or not the third Kane and the Sid.
They continue to avoid ordeals, which is mostly good for him, except again for that Siren that we talked about. But it is giving us a quick check at the Odin spot. Depending on who's here, he's got a good chance of beating it. He doesn't quite have all the levels that you might want, but this is actually really good information.
Yeah, and if it ends up being a free fight that he can just hit with an hourglass, I think we got hourglasses out of the starting slew of items. It looks like we are getting the Baron guards this time, so actually having a mute bell on hand. Did he find a mute bell, or was that also on ordeals? Nope, he has 3 mute bells.
Right there, yeah, in the inventory. But the coffins will take care of these pretty straightforwardly.
Oh yeah, coffins work on him too. I didn't even think about that. And he's even going to get a life glitch on him too with that Rosa.
And with the Dragoon Spear, the thing I talked about earlier with the having coffins to take out the egg, if you do use that Siren, Dragoon Spear takes care of that for you just fine. So heads up play for Stone Dingley, taking this check here, having already done the Earth Crystal, having already looked at the treasury, gotten 2 coffins, the seed is really working out for him.
Especially since he just got that Blink and Berserk. Oh, and he gets the pass too. So if he finds the Legend and Adamant, he doesn't even need a Darkness Crystal. He can just forego the Moon entirely. I wouldn't want to, because we do pretty much only have one option for grinding right now, which is the Mac Giants, unless we can find a shop that sells some Sirens. But he did get the pass, so he does have a quick way to Zeromus in any case.
Yeah, newer pieces of meta, first developed by Zilch and then expanded by both Mecha and Sunbu, members of the community, are what we're calling the 1200 HP strats. They had been started out calling the Zilch strats, but just kind of give a little bit more clarity about both what it does and to not give Zilch all of the credit, because it has been expanded upon by a number of people. You really only need 1200 HP and a dream being either vampires or Cure 3s or both, to take out Zeromus. So we don't need to even grind. We could get that. We know there's a Cursed Ring. Palin or Porum with a Cursed Ring is a great anchor. We have a couple people already at 1200 HP. We could pick up another Sid, do a trap chest or do a door, find some way to get a little bit of more XP on people. And if there are vampires and Cure 3s in the seed, we already know there have to be Star Veils, then we can just kind of go to Zeromus and do it in a really interesting way.
It would be interesting, especially because at least from what I've watched so far, I haven't seen any crazy 1200 strat or 1200 HP strats. I don't think I've ever seen that done before. So Um, Someone in chat
Yeah,
actually mentioning Siren could get us to 1200 HP, but he hasn't gone to ordeals yet, so he actually hasn't found the Siren. Oh geez, the elements are doing a nice little dance for us before we fight them in the Calbretta spot.
it shouldn't be too scary here. This is not a horribly great or awful spot for them. But Rosa clearly wearing some undead protection gear or just has some good gear overall because only taking 70 damage is pretty darn nice.
Yeah, especially since Sid just took about 5 times that.
Yep. Sid gives that 5 times return back, does 3,000 to the face of that Mylon Zed. Kane is jumping over this fire too. Kane's probably going to come down and end this fight pretty soon. Oh, Sid unfortunately does a little bit too much damage there. That's really sad.
Yeah,
We are going to see the elements.
I think we're gonna do a roundabout trip here, because yep, there's the Val. So I mean, a couple more hits or even just a single jump from Kane would probably end this, but Val hitting Rosa incredibly hard, much harder than before. I think, does she ignore back row with her attacks? Because that was a lot of damage.
I don't think so, but if Rosa's wearing like a wizard hat, that does give you undead protection, which means that Mylon Z's damage is going to be very, very low. But then Valvalis isn't going to be attacking as undead, so we'll get full damage on Rosa.
Yeah, you do bring up a good point. I didn't even think about that, the undead protections.
There's a lot of subtle little things like that where multipliers stack on multipliers. Being in the back row gives you extra defense, and then having resistance to the actual attacks of your enemies also gives you more, and they kind of the math works out to where you get like 8 or 16 times defense, and it's really, really good. Here we have Dark Elf, who's annoying but not hard.
Also, a Kane number 4. That's the 4th Kane we've seen this seed in the underground dwarf castle.
I heard you like jumping.
So we gave you a lot of ways to do it.
Getting the piggy status there is probably the best person. Hopefully we get a quick cure on Kane because his Dragoon Spear is going to do massive work on this dragon second form. Unfortunately, Rose is out of NP.
You're gonna have to resort to picking up one of those Cure 2s and using it, but it's a little too late as taking that extra half a second, even just a little bit of time, to back out of the magic menu and go into the item menu. Spell certain doom for our boy Kane.
People do end up playing on Battlefield 1 just to kind of get the game going as fast as possible, but you do lose ATB ticks, and that's how the game kind of advances through. There's the active time battle system, and each tick allows a timer or an action to happen. But even drawing the menu to get you the ability to input as something takes ticks, so you end up bleeding ticks on Battlefield 1 constantly.
Didn't get a Cure 2 queued up on the Sid there, but the Sid finishes it off just in time for Kane to be standing to grab a little bit of that XP, getting a couple of nice levels. Fight didn't go overall too terrible, but what we really need to figure out is oh, never mind, that was the second fight, because we fought the elements before, so now we just need to figure out what the key item is, but he doesn't actually have any way to cast a warp, so if he wants to get that key item, he's going to have to find the Loki key.
Yep, well, we do also have the warp glitch turned off in this flag set. It was on in group stages, but in order to make it overall a little bit more difficult and make your routing choices a little more interesting, a little more determinative, we did turn off the warp glitch here.
Oh, for the table rounds, I see. He's going to be getting something from Luca. It's a tiara. Luca took the tiara off of her neck. It was too big for her, so they're handing it over to probably Rosa.
Yep, Rosa is not going to object to that. It does give you black magic stats, so Rosa's not super thrilled with it, but it is a very good defensive piece of gear.
Yep, it would probably make those 70 hit damage numbers that we saw from Mylon be a little bit more consistent, so finding some tents, which are a little nice for curing or for healing up the party early on, but overall that wasn't the greatest of the checks that we've seen so far.
No, Dwarf Castle, a bit of a strikeout. We do still have the Earth Crystal that's there, and if Stone Dingley might be looking still for characters, routing in Dwarf Castle is kind of a little bit of a longish check, and you get a character. It's not quite as long as the Earth Crystal, as you mentioned earlier, but still not the greatest of time value all the time. but is now going to top a tower. We'll get the
Yeah.
check up here and probably
Keyless,
fix that out.
the keyless tower is funny enough probably the check that I've seen. It's the check that you don't really want to do, but every time I've seen people do it on stream, it always gives them some kind of good luck. I don't know if it's because a Bacchus wine, that's nice, but it's a free berserk right there, especially if we do find a defender sword or something like that, and having a Bacchus wine is gonna get through the berserk immunity. But
Also, it just makes you not have to take one of Rose's turns to berserk someone up, so very nice in the Z fight, or in case we find a really rude boss that we need to really just kind of amp up our damage potential pretty fast. And I do like checking the chest here. Stone Dingley does have the Earth Hammer equipped, so checking a couple of them along the way for some of those trap chests that do give us some elevated gear would be very nice, and Sid would be able to one-shot them.
Yep. Anyway, Keyless Tower. It's just so I can finish that thought real quick. Keyless Tower always seems to provide some sort of value, even if it's like one of those last resort things that you do. We are finding a Dark Knight Cecil on the top of the tower, though.
Yeah, not a whole lot of punching power here in this spot, so this is going to be pretty free. Meanwhile, Zyrak is complete with the checks at Baron. We'll be collecting his second part of that hook plus Pinktail very shortly.
Yeah. Luckily for him, he's going to probably appreciate that. Wait, actually, hold on. Now that I think about it, what was the item at the Pinktail spot? I can't remember.
It was a Dragoon Spear.
It was a Dragoon Spear? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I was saying. He's probably gonna really appreciate the item that he gets from the Pinktail.
Stone Dingley withstands 3 quick Dark Waves, throws 1 Cure 2 pot on Rosa, endures a little bit of speech, gets 26,000 experience points, and a key item check.
Gets Cure 3 on Rosa, gets the Darkness Crystal, so looks like top of the tower was indeed kind to us, because not only do we have the Darkness Crystal to finish our third objective, or our fourth objective rather, but we also have the pass. So once you get done with the White Spear altar, you can go right to Z if you wanted to, or you could hit up one of those, hit up an exit spell from Rosa and make your way to your grind fight, head to Troya, pop the pass, and then you're good to go. So
we've got a couple of exit items so far in people's inventories, so it's definitely a possibility. When you're already that far down the subterranean, kind of will probably just take the save and walk down, exit, and then fly back, and then fly back again through the pass is about the same amount of time. So it'll really depend on how confident Stone Dingley is with just the how well he intends to get through that Z fight if he feels comfortable with levels when he eventually goes there.
We do still want to try to finish out our party, so he may or may not be going for that Palom. Could just decide to pick up a second Rosa and have Sid, Kane, and maybe another Kane or another Sid just berserk it up, but
yeah,
we do still have filling out the party to worry about. So.
Yeah, we'd be looking at Rosa and another Kane with a Sid anchor. We could be going to pick up that Palom and slingshot him up to level 52. That'd be take a total of 5 D machines with 5 life glitches to get him there. But I imagine this play is to go find a cursed ring that we know is in the armor shop.
Zyrak finding the Sid underground, saying no to that. Oh, it looks like Zyrak did take the Palom while we were looking over at Stoneside.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. He does have that Siren for more deals, so it's pretty well incentivized to grab Palom and get out to Quake pretty soon. And then we are going to probably get a treasure check.
Yep, so he will find that rune ring that he, at this point he might even decide to just put it straight on to the Quack Kid. But I have a feeling that he's going to be taking a nap. If not, then we will be seeing a couple of Quakes go out to finish off some of the fights that we've seen from earlier.
Yep, and pretty much everything must go here on Stone Dingley's side. Buys another Ogre Axe, so both Sid and Kane will have them. He does have 2 Ogre Axes plus that Earth Hammer, though, so it might be a little over-prepared, but we'll see who he picks up in Mysidia when he goes to finalize his team, and also see if he does take that Darkness Crystal and sees who's up on the moon, too. That could absolutely change your decision point on who you want to take and how far you want to grind.
Yeah, definitely. Still haven't even we haven't even been up to the moon yet with Darkness Crystal, just because we were doing some last checks here on Earth before making our way up to the stars. So we'll be anxious to find out what is both in the Hummingway shop and also who that character is, because the Hummingway shop does usually have some pretty good items. You could find some, you know, maybe some more lives or some more elixirs if we haven't found them already.
Yeah, and Pepita in chat asking how likely is Zyark to make that play up Kilo's Tower. That's kind of going to depend on how he feels about his party composition, possibly how much he is comfortable with a Mac Giant grind, because if you're comfortable with it and don't want to do Zot, we'll find out very quickly. Okay, so Zyark not going up the tower. Doesn't have a whole lot of checks that are super interesting to him available, other than going to first check Odin as a check. We'll also be looking to check Dwarf Castle and then probably top of Kilo's Tower. Those are by far the most attractive things to do for Zyark, and we are going to use that.
Doing the Siren play. This is gonna get our kid possibly Quake. He is 5 levels under, so he's gonna be getting double the experience for this. Unless the EXP boost is turned off, but
it is turned on. However, you need a full party for that. You need all 5 characters to be in the party for it. So Palom only getting 34,000, not getting 68 there. Unfortunate.
I did not know that, actually. I've always had 5 party members when it mattered, so I've never seen it otherwise. So.
Yeah,
that is a good tidbit of information to know, though.
It is one of those kind of subtle things that you forget about because people run in 5 so often, but you do have to have the full 5 party members in order to have that kick in.
Oh, I just realized Zyark hasn't checked Sylph Cave yet, so gotta do that first. Stone is checking who that moon character is before deciding who he wants to be in his party. If it ends up being another melee attacker, he might just take it anyway, because we saw that he was looking for somebody. It's another Sid. Oh, God. Oh.
Yeah, that's quick reset down. We don't need a second engineer in this team.
We have so many... is that... How many Sids is that? Is that 3 or 4?
I think it's at least 3, but does remember, I think, that there was a Rosa here. Unless he never peeked this at all, but I think he's got a good idea that Rosa might be up here. And we'll see if he's looking for a second white mage or maybe looking for a second black mage.
I think he is taking the Rosa because he's not resetting out of ordeals this time. Nope. Oh, yeah, no, he took the Rosa. And he also has himself a Palom, too, so...
Yeah, he did go back, which is a little bit earlier. Didn't pick up Porum there or another Kane. So was definitely looking for someone a little more interesting than either of those two.
Chasman in the chat letting us to know that we have seen 4 Sids total, which means we're at 4 Sids, 4 Canes, 3 Rosas, and then a couple twins. So we are really excluding a lot of characters in this seed. And I think he is he doing the manipulation for the Mac Giant grind, or is there not a manipulation for that and he's just...
Nope, there is as well. They Simbu had pulled the data out of the ROM for how all of the encounters worked, and then Twisted Flax had put it together in a very handy chart form so that people could land outside a bear and walk around, count steps, and figure out exactly what encounter they could find either D-Machine or Mac Giant on. So we'll see him saving, turning on encounters, and then walking around a little bit.
And he is going to be getting his grind fight out of the way. Resetting, because to start setting up the RNG, I guess. But, yep. We are definitely going to be seeing him do his grind fights first before going to the moon, or even the giant of Babil, or, well, no, because he has to do the grind out the giant. So, yeah, before we see any checks on the moon, we're going to be going straight for that grind fight. Make sure that he is comfortable with fighting whatever he needs to get past that white altar. Thank you, RPG Limit Break, for the rating party of 174 viewers.
Yeah, welcome into this race between Zarek and a Stone Dingley. I'm Antidale, joined by Evelon on commentary, and we do have Groundflyer, who has given us this wonderful seed and is restreaming it, and Chazman doing all the tracking. Both of them doing wonderful jobs. We have a Stone Dingley, for everyone joining in, who is in Go mode, has found the Darkness Crystal at the top of the tower in Lower Babel, found the Hook and the Pinktail in Baron Inn and Baron Throne, respectively, and is now figuring out what encounter seed he's on and how he can get to the Mac Giant grind, where he'll be doing probably. Let me find the numbers for you while Evelon goes and tells us what's up.
So on Stone Dingley's side, he is just getting done setting up the manipulation for the Mac Giant grind, and on Zyrak's side, he's actually visiting the top of the Tower of Zot. Thankfully, he does have a cane for this Valvalis fight. We're going to be able to take her out of the tornado form and deal a little bit of extra damage here. Palm's taking a nap while the adults fight the mean lady. Stone Dingley, though, he is going to be heading inside of that Giant of Babil to start up his grinding. He just got done setting up the manipulation on Earth, so we will be seeing the Mac Giants pretty soon here because we do not have a Tella. There's no Tella so far that we've seen. Might be at the top of the Tower of Zot here, but we're running out of places for him to be because as far as characters go, we are pretty sparse on the variety. We have seen 4 Sids, 4 Canes, 2 or 3 Rosas, and a couple twins. So we do have both Palom and Porum. Oh yeah, Stone Dingley can't take a Tella anyway, but it could be nice for Zyrak, so there's that.
Yeah, and Stone Dingley is probably doing 15 Mac Giant kills with 15 life glitches. A life glitch is where you throw a life pod at a dying enemy. Since enemies have 0 vitality, they resurrect with 0 hit points and then instantly die again, so you get double credit.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that the that it even brings them back to life because being raised, being based off your vitality stat, you would think that if you don't have vitality, that it just wouldn't raise you, but not the case.
Yeah, we do have the life glitch turned on. It is available to also turn off in Free Enterprise, so that you're able to.
Oh, hey, we have a Cecil, and he's a paladin already, so you don't even have to go through the trouble, and I think Zyrak kept that lifesaver. So, depending on who we find in this next room, if we do find a Tella, then he's probably just going to take the Tella. But we do have a nice little Cecil here for the, as a nice agility anchor, or to wail at someone with a light sword. And it's another Porum, so I definitely think we're going to either be taking the Cecil and rolling with him as our agility anchor with that curse ring, if not for the Zerking, or we could be going back and picking up another Cane, possibly. But it's ultimately up to Zyrak, and it looks like we are going to be rolling with the Paladin this time around.
With both a Dwarf Axe and a Curse Ring, Cecil's agility is very controllable, so you can get him up into the low 40s and have him still be a very, very good anchor for almost everything. And then he'll still also be able to cover very well. But it's with only lightsaber, sometimes it's a little bit of a questionable thing. He doesn't add that much in terms of power to the team, but that cover strategy is very, very strong. So can definitely see it pay off.
Yep, and it looks like he is setting Cecil up just to beat some fights very quickly before he probably is going to be doing exactly what you said with the Dwarf Axe Curse Ring. Cecil does make a good Zerker with a Holy Sword of any variety, but with the people that we have waiting on the Tower of Prayers, or the Tower of, or the, I'm sorry, is it the Tower of Wishes? Is it Tower?
Tower of Wishes.
Tower of Wishes. Cecil is, he's not the most desirable pick, but he's also not the least desirable pick. I mean, we do have another Sith.
Yeah, it's true. Our entire character pool has been pretty limited, and we don't have a lot of gear for all those canes. Maybe swinging just multiple Ogre Axes, possibly. We do have that one Dragoon Spear, and a Gunter Spear is pretty good, but 2 canes is not the dream without multiple other things. I think that was a spoon. So a key item from Zot, but not a whole lot else.
Yeah, and the key item from Zot also isn't very valuable because we haven't seen an Edge or an Edward, and I think we're out of character spots now, so what we have is what we got.
We could go to the, we haven't seen the package yet, and we
Oh,
could
yeah, that's true.
complete the giant. But we also do have the spoon flag turned off, so Edward just gets to gaze longingly at it and not wield it in battle.
Poor Edward. I'm so used to it being turned on. It's weird seeing it off, but I guess you don't want to have a party member as broken as Edward with a spoon this late in the tournament. So getting close to top 16.
Kind of make it so that he has a lot of fun with the spoon. He can absolutely help clear a lot of overworld, and even a lot of the game. He's kind of a glass cannon with the spoon, but we kind of take that one piece away from him here in Order Flags because he's actually a surprisingly strong character with the right application. We're going to make sure that people don't take him just for memes, but take him as a deliberate choice because they want him to be able to do like a Thunderstruck Odin or even Eddie Strats around this.
Yep. Ooh, Cecil not quite high enough level to make use of that Berserk with the lightsaber. Not doing too much damage to this Mylon Z, even with the holy damage. So looks like we're gonna get to exploit Rubiconte's weakness to ice though with a Boreas.
Yep.
Which is nice.
A little more leg, which is nice, and then he goes away.
Or he just dies. I think Palom did something to him. I didn't quite watch that entire fight because I'm still looking at the Mac Giant grind as well. So.
It does show how you can, if you do enough damage to either of the first two forms, you actually just skip the other two forms because it's actually two different boss fights all in one for that elements thing. Each fight will rotate from the first character to the second character at certain HP thresholds, and then will trigger the second fight once you get to a different HP threshold. But if you just exceed all of the HP entirely in that one form, you go straight past go into the off the other, get half the experience because you only did half the damage.
He's hitting the Searcher. Oh, he's hitting with the Ogre Axe. I was gonna say. I forgot that Sid was wielding the Ogre Axe. I thought he was just about to whack the Searcher with a hammer and kill a Searcher on accident. Or maybe intentionally, I don't know. But he's wielding the Ogre Axe, so don't gotta worry about that.
Yeah, this is a nicely executed Mac Giant grind. Stone Dingley has Blink Up on the three characters that matter. And also in the back rows, they can at least take a pop from a Mac Giant if he kind of runs out of MP. It's doing a pretty good job of probably managing the Searcher's HP, because you don't want to end this too soon. And like I said earlier, he's probably looking for 15 kills plus 15 life glitches, for a total of about 30 kills overall, in order to get Palom up to level 52 from Nuke.
Yep, and I don't foresee either of the people that are on the ground coming back up until he's done with this fight. So once they get rezzed, that is a good indication that that he's going to be done with that fight. And it looks like, speak of the devil, I'm on a roll today with these. He looks like he's just about done picking up both the Palom and the Rosa, getting ready to finish this fight off. I don't know how he's gonna.
Yeah, with the casting of Blinks, I think he is feeling like he's close to either done on its own or has done enough damage that the Searcher might be dying soon and doesn't quite know. So we're going to get some Blinks up on people in case the math is a little bit off. But we are pulling out that Earth Hammer.
Yeah, he put the Earth Hammer on Sid, so hopefully, as long as Sid does around 3k damage-ish, maybe a little bit less, then he should be fine, but
Just have 5,500 HP. I know we've seen at least two Ogre Axes and swings for about 600 each, so we're at least down 1,000, probably a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm thinking that as long as they can kill the next Mac Giant if the Searcher doesn't die with relative ease, then they should be good to. Then he should be good to go.
Yeah, that's probably why we're seeing Sid Berserked just in case.
There it is, 3,000 damage from Searcher. Was that 542,000? I can't read very fast.
It sure was 540 something like
that. That's a lot of XP.
So that Quack Kid will get to level 52 at least, because he needs only about 900,000 to get there. He'll be getting double, so he got 108,000 Same with that Rosa, who is also base level at level 10. She doesn't need as much to get up to white either. So that's
everything.
yeah, that's 42 levels for her. So she's at 52. She's got everything. We'll see where the Rosa who was alive the entire seed ends up to see if she got to Cure 4 or white.
That was a great grind fight from Stone Dingley. He did very well there.
Very well executed. Looks like Rosa's about 2 levels shy of white, but I think we're going to see...
He'll more than make up for that with killing that white altar.
That one's a little bit low on XP, so I don't think we're going to get both levels off of there. And I don't think he's going to care so much. He's got Nuke, he's got white and one person, and probably going to be relying on Zerkin Kane and doing some hybrid strats to deal all the damage.
I do love a good old hybrid strat. I don't know... he definitely has a curse ring. Both of our runners definitely got curse rings. He's not going to check the Hummingway spot, which is, that's more than fine. He doesn't really need to at this point. There's no items that he would want now that he's got the levels. But interesting to see exactly how he goes about the Z fight, because I want to know who he puts that curse ring on. Probably going to be the twin. Twin.
I think it's going to be Sid. It's going to be Sid, almost.
I was going to say, if not the twin, then Sid, because those are the two slowest people in the party right now. Unless Palom is the faster of the two, in which case, never mind. But
Palom's going to be doing, I imagine anyway, Palom's going to be doing a lot of damage with reflected nukes. And Sid is going to be maybe tossing a Cure 3 potion or two, or just kind of hanging around, cheering the team on.
Yeah, even with an Ogre Axe, Sid doesn't exactly do the most damage to Z Berserk, especially because he's, well, actually, he is back row glitch, so being in the back row doesn't really mean much to him, but...
Yep, and that is Zyrak getting go mode at 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 20 seconds. Both runners are in go mode. Dingley has the huge advantage of having already completed his grind, so we'll see how Zyrak sets his up. He doesn't have quite the same party, does not have the second Rosa, had instead taken Ace. So a little bit different party. We'll maybe have a different target for the grind strategy. Might end up keeping the Palom down. I don't know.
That is very true. Interesting. We have we have someone in the chat betting as well. Pepita saying that they're gonna bet the lower level Rosa as the curse ring target. That's an interesting theory. She doesn't have white. So, without a holy spell to reflect off of, that could mean that she has less usefulness than Kane. That's an interesting bet. We'll see.
Definitely a possibility. I would prefer to make sure to give me as much chance for both of my Rosas to survive through, or at least a Rosa, to survive through any Big Bang. So I probably would not hamper one of the Rosas with getting that massive stat decrease, so the Big Bangs would be more likely to knock her out. But definitely a possibility.
Yeah, you don't want to have your Cure getting knocked out by a Big Bang if you can help it, and this is definitely a party where you can most certainly help it.
Is getting equipped with that life staff. I think we sold a silent staff earlier to afford one of those Ogre Axes, but we're definitely shifting stuff around a little bit. Sid is picking up a Dwarf Axe. Sid is also picking up that Curse Ring.
Yep, there it goes.
One of the nice changes to version 4.1 is just a little bit of a fix of the stat that it gets applied to the Black Shirt. In the US version of Final Fantasy, what was 2 for us, gave actually the white magic stat as a boost on the black shirt. Pretty much every other version of the game correctly gave the black magic stat, so Boardface did change that in the randomizer in the most recent patch, just to kind of have it actually make sense.
Very, very nice fight to see in this white altar spot, though. Mylon Z in this spot is so easy. With the party comp that he has right now, with double Rosas, one of them's got life staff, the other one's high enough level to cast Holy, and we have Oh yeah, that nuke on our our Palom is going to make very quick work of this Mylon. So this is a good fight. You like to see it in this particular area with the amount of damage that he can do to this guy. Readily accessible.
Cure 4 is coming out, and since Mylon Z is undead, he takes damage from them and then gets healed. So Rosa doing a lot of damage per second, more than she normally would with a white cast. We get a samurai bow, which is whatever, but more importantly, that is objective number 4, and that's going to be a crystal for a Stone Dingley.
Yep, if he wasn't in Go mode before, then he definitely is now. But as soon as we got Darkness Crystal, that basically spelled the end of doing any more key item checks. So
yeah, I know I always define Go mode as, do you have all of the pieces assembled or the information to get those pieces in order to not have to do anything extraneous, which is absolutely true. It looks like we do get that exit out. Stone Dingley, not looking for any more levels, going to exit, fly back to Earth, and use that pass.
Yep, and we also might get to see the hilarious lunar whale parking itself right on top of Toroya.
It is the dream. I bet the citizenry kind of panics every time it happens. I know I'd be very confused, although they do have some sort of floating tower that's vaguely nearish by, maybe. So even though we don't see a shadow anywhere, the Tower of Zot is floating somewhere in the atmosphere. And we at least leave and come back from Troya when we go there, so
We're being really pressured to say the thing by chat right now because of how many Z flags there are.
That's pretty tired.
Zeromus is an incredibly hard fight. You don't want to see him anywhere besides where he's at. And as such, we don't put him anywhere besides where he's at because you would get banged into oblivion pretty much instantly. And we ask ourselves, whose butt are we kicking tonight? And the reason we ask this is because we don't know whose butt we're kicking tonight until we see Zeromus himself. Because his sprite gets randomized every single playthrough of this game as long as we have the Z flag on, which we always do because we would never turn it off and deprive you guys of the great sprites that our good friend Scala Kitty, among others, produces for us.
Yeah, there are over 460 Z sprites in the pool. There is one fairly semi-famous, or at least known enough. I think it was the Seed of the Week, where the seed is called Heresy, and it's one of the very few times I've ever seen the Z flag turned off. The Z flag is actually on by default as of version 3.0.
Yeah, I've never had to turn it off before, so. I know that Inven is really vying hard for Kaibamis to be the mascot of Highway to the Threemus Zone, just because of how often we've seen him. So
definitely, sometimes it seems like the randomizer likes to just show some in pretty quick succession, but there's tons and tons of them.
But let's find out. Who said they wanted Zeromus? Who said they wanted Zeromus? Congratulations, Zopvix in the chat. You got your wish. It's Zeromus.
You get Paintermus. Loved Mario Paint as a kid, even though I was never a good artist or drawer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With that kind of gross, awful mouse that existed.
It was actually Large Father V that said that he wanted Zeromus. So there you go. You got him. You got him. He's in the Mario Paint, but he's there for you.
Yep, and it is, as Stone Dingley is starting this Zeromus fight, Zyrak is looking for the manipulation. I think find one of the squares in the chart that is obnoxious. Did a quick reset. We do have a really fast Big Bang.
Yeah, very fast Big Bang, especially considering we have the, Dwarf and Cursed Ring on Sid. You think it would have happened a little bit slower than that, but he at the very least has a Reflect strat set up. Doesn't quite have the time to put the Berserk on Kain. I don't know if he's going to, because I think he's just gonna...
Yeah, I think this is straight Reflect strat. See, Kain's got that Star Veil up. We saw one Rosa bounce a white spell off of him. I do wonder if Stone Dingley maybe didn't move to Battle Speed 3. That's one of the things with Reflect strats that's really nice to do. It gives you a little bit more time to put inputs in.
Kain is poised to jump. So I think that on the off turns where Kane isn't in the air, that's when they're gonna start bouncing spells off of him. But it looks like we're throwing up Starveil on the other Rosa as well, so getting a quick nuke off to nerf his Big Bang, which is very good. And the benefit of having a couple of characters nice and Starveiled up right now is actually hopefully going to show itself with a reflected counter nuke from Threemus. And it looks like Zyrak on the other side found the fight that he was looking for. Maybe not. Oh, looks like he's... Okay, there it is. Yeah, he's setting his manipulation up. It looks like he's almost done. This is fight number 2 with the enemy layout that he was looking for. So we'll be seeing a Mac Giant grind pretty soon here.
Yep, and unfortunately for Palom, for Stone Dingley's Palom, that did not get reflected on, or the counter nuke did not happen. Do something with the Starveil. Palom effectively nuked himself in the face with that counter, and that Big Bang kind of took a lot of people out. So we're down to a Kane, a Sid, and one Rosa. This is definitely recoverable though. He's got plenty of tools in the toolkit to get run back up and going.
He's also done so much damage at this point because he's had like 6 or 7 reflected spells by my count anyway, because he had 3 rounds from both Palom and Rosa to deal a decent bit of damage, so he probably doesn't have much more to go, if I had to guess anyways. Getting some good Cure 4s off, and it looks like this fight is already basically recovered. Just needs to nerf that Big Bang, and then he'll be good to go. It looks like he's going to be nerfing that Big Bang with the crystal if it goes off in time, which it does. So yeah, he's set.
Sid is the best person to take that counter nuke though, because Sid's not gonna do anything too useful.
Yeah, Sid's the agility anchor. It's fine if he takes the nuke, especially because not only does he have the hit points to handle it, but he has some pretty good armor on besides that cursed ring, so he doesn't exactly take the most damage from this kind of stuff.
Yeah, since he has all that HP and it was nerfed, he's not dead. He's just crying a little bit. But everything is pretty okay. Stone Dingley did a nice job of recovery here. We get the virus direct cast from Threemus, so we do know that we're still in phase 1, which is very, very nice. You know that as long as you keep bouncing spells, Threemus won't react to direct damage and refill HP like he normally does. So definitely a good thing for Stone Dingley. Well, Zyrak must have done something slightly wrong because we do reset once he's in the Giant. Which is really unfortunate for his time overall. You hate to see it.
Yeah, he has not seen his opponent finish yet, so, when you're on the grind fight and you did a weird check like Keyless Tower, you gotta think that you might be a little bit ahead, but in the mind of Zyrak, he thinks, he possibly might be losing this lead. But as we know, looking from the outside in, we can see that it's Stone Dingley's race to lose. So
yeah, it looks like Palom Starveil either wore off or Rose had enough backtalk and definitely whited him in the face. It was the Starveil, of course, but we have to get him back up. A little late on this nerf with the crystal, so we're probably going to lose a couple of people here. Stone Dingley still got some time to go in this fight.
Groundfly does bring up a good point. Doing Golbez at Leviathan did put him a little bit behind. I didn't even think about that, but that's true. Oh,
yeah, we do get a reset. That Big Bang took out everyone except one Rosa and Kane, and I think Rosa had the crystal queued up, so it was going to be a bad time for Stone Dingley. But gonna go back in. I didn't check and see if he had checked on his battle speed at all. But hopefully we get a little bit quicker setup this time and able to get more spells off and just have everything go a little bit more smoothly in the second go around for Stone Dingley.
Yeah, he should be okay still. He's got a very good party setup. It's just did try nerfing it a little bit too early. Got one of his party members killed pretty early on, so hopefully this time around we'll see a little bit of either better luck or just better timing, maybe. Not entirely sure. But Z-Fight is hard.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of people do reflect strats very smoothly throughout the tournament, and that helps so much when you have two or three people who are casting Nuke. White actually has a delay on it, so it takes a little while. I think it's like 6 ATB ticks overall from the time you say, Rosa, cast this, to the time where she actually goes out and does it.
Whereas,
yeah, Nuke has no delay.
Nuke is relative. Yeah, I was gonna say Nuke is instant cast, isn't it? But yeah. So
yeah, so with a Nuke white, you're not able to reliably always get the Threemus kill before the second Big Bang happens. It takes you kind of either some better rolls or a little bit of pushing, or something else going on, or just a lot more faith that you got to get all the inputs in. So you kind of have to think about that as you're doing this fight. That could be why he had Kane jump at one point, but Palin being down a couple times in that fight absolutely made it much harder for Dingley the first time through.
Zyrak setting up a really nice looking grind fight here with a blinked Cecil. He is in the back row and he does have an Ogre Axe, so he's going to be able to do a good bit of damage here. I think he has got 3 Ogre Axes actually, unless Sid is using an Earth Hammer. I didn't quite see what his attack animation looked like, but I'm pretty sure he's got 3 Ogre Axes.
Yeah, either one's going to be good. That Cecil's going to do a great job of covering for everyone. The blink will help too, but Cecil probably isn't really taking any effective damage here. And 200's not unsurmountable, but Rosa can definitely heal through that.
Quoston asking, haven't watched much for Enterprise, and I did watch some earlier stuff. Why is there 2 versions of characters now? There are multiple palettes for the characters to differentiate between which ones are which, because you can find more than one character in each of the seeds, depending on how lucky or depending on your like for the character is how unlucky you get. But you're also allowed to have duplicate characters in the same party. The people that do the sprites made some extra sprites so that you can differentiate between which characters you have found and which ones are which. So yeah, there's 2 versions of the characters for all of those reasons.
Yep, and that was a change in version 3.0, where you got the ability to have multiple Palums or Cecils or multiple of anyone in a party. It is controllable by a flag. You can have seen no dupes on, which does limit you to the vanilla 1 character per. But it's a lot of fun to have dupes. It makes for some really interesting party compositions. You get to see some things that you wouldn't normally. So it's kind of a lot of fun, and it adds a different piece of strategy. Sometimes we turn it on, sometimes we leave it off. But in this particular flag set, we do allow you to have dupes.
And Skull Kitty makes some absolutely gorgeous ones. I think probably my favorite is just ultra blue Cecil. Just Cecil who is so blue, he makes blue cry at how not blue they are, or how not blue it is. But
yeah, and of course they do have the same stats and skills. Each character is its own, gets its own levels. So getting levels on one Cecil does not mean a different Cecil in your party also gets those levels. But you do. But Cecil is Cecil, so he gets Cecil stats as he levels up. It's just his own XP counts to it, only his own levels.
It's Cecil and Golbez's palette. I like that a lot. That's clever. Oh yeah, Mega Man Sid. I like Mega Man Sid too.
Yeah, Mega Man Sid's good. Sub-Zero Edge is nice. I am partial to Cellus Rosa. But there's a lot of good palettes.
I think my favorite Rosa is the Goth Rosa, where she's got the red and black, but she has that really cool looking cape.
Yeah, and I know there's a Goth for everyone, if I remember correctly, and there's also a Vaporwave for everyone.
Vaporwave.
Yeah, the Fabul Gauntlet tournament that we had in the spring had a very Vaporwave theme, so I believe it was in Fab Season 3, which I think was 4.0, when we got all the Vaporwave palettes for everyone.
Nice. Oh, whoa. Zeromus actually just used a black hole.
Yep, after the second Big Bang, you do get the black hole kind of pulls any star veils out. If you have people berserked, they'll stop being berserked. So it's a good reset point for you. And then after that, the Big Bangs will come out pretty frequently after the black hole comes out after every Big Bang. I was a little bit off. Scala says Highway to the Zuma Zone 2. That was microwave. That's that makes more sense.
Highway to the Zuma Zone 2. Yeah. I actually do remember seeing Highway to the Zuma Zone 2. I didn't watch like I don't remember watching any of the VODs, but I do remember seeing like the themes for it. Most of what I caught for Highway to the Zuma Zone 2 was actually on stream. So yeah, I do remember. I like the theme for that one a lot because it had like the cassette. Oh wait, no, that's this one has the cassette tapes. Man, I'm getting everything confused.
Well, we've seen so much of this. We've had what, over 200 restreams of this tournament so far.
Yeah.
Over 300 races. Meanwhile, Zarek is doing a really good job with this this Mech Giant fight. Cecil's covering everyone just wonderfully. We're getting blinks back at him. Just methodically going through this. There's no trouble.
We're seeing very good play on both sides actually right now because Stone Dingley hasn't had anybody drop on his side yet, and he's performing incredibly well in the Z fight.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of letting us kind of natter on.
As soon as I say that, this is the 4th time this race that I've said something and then it happened. We got a GG on Stone Dingley's side.
Yeah, that is a crack-a-boom. Not a flash because we turned off flash effects, or at least as Stone Dingley did. But that is a win for Stone Dingley at 122-27, putting him to 3-1 in the tournament so far. Definitely giving him a good chance at getting into the top 16. Looking probably to just get one of the next 2 wins, or even both of them. And definitely 5-1 he would be in. And I believe we will see if we can get Stone Dingley in for an interview.
Yeah. What is there to talk about for this seed, do you think? Maybe the overabundance of Kane and Sid, and how that altered the strategy. Also, what provoked him to check Keyless Tower so early as opposed to doing the Earth crystal check.
Yeah, those will be some very good questions. How maybe the Lacatella affected his routing. What he would have done had he gone up Zata and Cecil, possibly, and just how he's feeling about the tournament too. But I believe we will soon be joined by Stone Dingley. And indeed we are. He's still muted for a second, so while he is finding that mic control, welcome into Stone Dingley, the winner of tonight's race, going to 3-1 so far in the table flags. GG's.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead. You first. You first.
All right. So how do you feel about Kane?
I played a seed earlier today where the only melee character I got was Yang, so I was actually happy to see Kane at the start.
Were you happy to see Kane and Kane and Kane and Kane?
I said I was happy to see him at the start.
Very important distinction.
We don't forget Kane's best friend Sid, because there were 4 of him too.
At least ogre axes were for sale, so if I took all of them, I could have equipped them.
Yeah, that is very true. With having 4 Kanes and 4 Sids, we surprisingly had a lot of really good weapons for both Kane and Sid by way of Dragoon Spear and Ogre Axes, as well as a Rune Axe. In the where was that at actually? That was the Pink Tail. No, that wasn't the Pink Tail.
The Rune Axe was behind Golbez at the Leviathan
That's
spot.
right. That's right. Behind Golbez Leviathan.
Oh, yeah, that looked like a nasty spot. I didn't want any part of that.
Yeah, kind of tell us, take us through the seed from your perspective and how you felt about things and your run overall.
Well, you know, when you're in a race, it all gets a little hazy, but what I remember was just getting really lucky that I made a lot of good checks and ran into just a bunch of like bosses that were easy for me when I got there. Like the Dark Knight Cecil at the top of tower, or the guards in the basement. It was just things kept working out.
And speaking of which, you went to the top of the Tower of Babil without having the key pretty quickly. You didn't even like take a stop to go check out the Earth Crystal. So like, what was the methodology for your underground run? Like just deciding to take that check over going anywhere else?
Well, at that point, I think my only options were to do the Fey March, to do the Earth Crystal check, to do Top of Tower, and I skipped Ordeals. So of those, I felt like doing Top of Tower would be the fastest. I figured, it's not a super strong spot. Worst comes to worst, it's a high HP spot that I have to wear down, but it's what item it is immediately. And I figured if that didn't work out, then I would do Zot. But like I got that crystal, and I was just like, well, I guess I'm grinding.
Yeah, was that Ordeals fade a deliberate thing because you didn't have Tella?
Yeah, I didn't see Tella, I didn't see Cecil. I just figured it's a good amount of time to take. It's a pretty long check if you're not going to get, Tella's spells out of it. So
Yeah, not having
checking Top of Towers faster.
Not having the utility box that is Tella's Ordeals spells is a little bit troubling when you don't have any real way of enabling that kind of grind. So it does make sense to fade Ordeals, especially not having seen anybody.
And I figured with that starting Rosa, I have all the utility, sort of the white magic that I need, and it didn't seem appealing.
Yeah, very fair. We did see a siren up in a treasure chest up there, which might have been useful for you, but you definitely did not need it for how well you progressed through that seed and how well you just used whatever the seed gave you. Finding those 2 coffins was really nice for that early Odin check too.
Yeah, the Odin check was actually like, I saw, because we saw the Kaipo guards on Ordeals, so the only robe that could have been was the Baron guards, and it's just like, this is gonna be easy for them.
Yeah, considering that a bunch of the easy bosses were already out of the pool, like King, Queen, Evelyn, and Waterhag were already down, I wasn't expecting a free fight, but it really made me glad I did my treasury check, got those coffins. I don't know how much time it saved me in the long run since I had to go up and do the White Spear altar anyway, but since I did need to go into the Z fight twice, it in the long run ended up saving me time.
Yeah, plus just a little bit of extra XP is never hurtful, and that's a pretty decent bit when you're able to life glitch one of them too.
Yeah, getting the life
That's why I
glitch
didn't
off
need the
that
siren.
Baron guard. Yeah, getting the life glitch off on that Baron guard did solidify quite a bit of levels. So
once again, I just count myself super lucky.
Yeah,
you did play very well though.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a decent bit of skill involved, and I always like to say luck is a part of skill. So
yeah, you had a really nice, clean back giant grind too.
There was something else I was going to ask, but I forgot.
While you think about that, Evelyn, Stone Dingley, you're now at 3-1 in the table flags. How are you feeling about your overall position?
Oh, I'm ecstatic. Honestly, getting to tables was my pie in the sky goal. I figured, if I make it to play-ins, that'd be awesome. Like, that's all I wanted to do. And make it to table, I was super happy. I'm like, I don't care if I lose all my matches. And so just getting 3 wins, if I just bombed everything else, I'd be super happy with myself and my performance. I just feel lucky to be at this level.
And you have, looks like Baka Shinobi tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Eastern, and then Aizen Tayama on the day after at 7. Either of those 2 you're looking forward to more than the other, or you're just kind of hoping to get through both of them and see where you end up?
Well, you know what? I try to go into it not thinking about my opponent too much. Like, I know some people like to try to meta game, but I find I do my best if I just kind of relax and pretend no one's watching and play like I don't care if I lose. I make fewer mistakes that way, I think. I'm not going to be thinking about either of them when I'm going. And I think the match with Aizen was actually moved to Friday.
Okay. Definitely, we'll want to make sure that we get that right in the schedule calendar too. I might not have refreshed recently, but we'll definitely I think we'll take care of offline and make sure it's correct for both of you.
Thank you.
So, is there anything that you wanted to say about this seed as a whole? Did you really feel like it was super challenging to have to try to figure out how to get through this stuff without, there's no Tella, you only really have the Kane and the Rosa for a while. Because Sid is good once you get some good stuff on him, and he carries the early game a little bit, but once you kind of get underground, he falls off kind of slightly. So, is there just like anything in particular that was going through your head throughout the entire seed, or any final thoughts on it?
Well, I was worried when I picked up that Sid that I wouldn't find a cursed ring, because like you said, he does fall off, but I think he's got so much value in the early game, it just helps you kind of blaze through the overworld comparatively, that, I think it's worth taking, 7 times out of 8. As for like overall thoughts, again, I just feel like I stumbled like from one check to the next and finding all the right stuff. Like, I liked it. This was like a fairly nice seed to me, at least.
I think it's fair to say that it was a fairly nice seed in general. Because it's not going to take too much longer. I don't think, for Zyrak to get through this. So it was just in general a pretty nice seed, I think. Regardless of the 4 Canes, 4 Sids, and lack of Tella, and I don't know if it's hard to remember what who found what, but I think both you guys found Bahamut at the Antlion Cave, right? That was the reward for that.
Oh so, yeah, I was desperately like the whole seed, tons of nice Rydia stuff. Not
seeing Rydia, getting all that good Rydia stuff.
I bet she's hiding at the Giant.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe in the package, just waiting there to spring out once you take her home.
Zyrak is going to be heading for his Z fight right now, though. He just did the save. He put the Dwarf Axe in the curse ring on his agility anchor, so...
Yep, and Stone Dingley, you're not only a winner of this race, but I'm sure a winner of the viewers' hearts as you go and are giving us some music here at the end, since we didn't find the Twin Harp, but the version 4.1 giving us the ability to play music. So, Evelyn, do you have any further questions for Stone Dingley?
Not that I can think of, no.
Well, I don't think I do either. Again, GG's, Stone Dingley. You played very well, and very, very happy to see you continue going on in this tournament. But I think, unless you have anything else you'd like to say tonight, we'll let you go, and we'll just enjoy this music as Zyrak faces Threemus.
Just, thank you to everybody on the Restream team who makes all this possible. Thank you for the commentary and the tracking. Thank you, Ground Flyer, for the Restream. Again, thank you.
Thank you for putting on such a great performance and doing very well at this race today. Both of you guys put up a very good fight, and I think we're about to see the seed come to a close. So, until next time. Zyrak is just getting started with his Z fight. Oh yeah, he did do the Vanilla Spear altar as well. So he did clear that last objective. It's just the tracking UI hasn't quite updated it.
Yep, and I know sometimes when I track and it's at the end of the seed and they clearly have the crystal stones we just did see it thrown, I will occasionally forget to actually click the button when the runner is there. Sometimes you just get called away from them too and kind of miss it happening.
Yeah.
But we do have the Z fight underway. Sid gets a nuke to the face, but he's still got 2,600 HP later.
Yeah, Sid is kind of like I think he has the second most HP next to Yang, because Yang gets I think at this level Yang would have closer to 5,000, if not a little over. So
yeah, Sid can actually beat Yang in HP. Yang caps out actually about 6,000. He actually kind of has a hard limit where he doesn't gain HP after a certain level. So he'll get to upper 5s or lower 6s. He'll get 5,990 something or 6,005 or something in there as his effective cap.
I've gotten all the characters to level 99 in a seed where I just I had full adamants on everybody because it was it was super lazy seed or whatever. So I just wanted to see what the max level was for all the characters and stuff like that. And the levels the HP values get a little ridiculous.
They sure do. And one interesting thing with Final Fantasy IV is that you have set stat growth throughout most of a character's career, but after level 70, you actually get a random die roll on a chart of 8 different levels, and each level will get you 8 different results out of that chart. So some levels will have some minuses to stats, some levels will have some really good pluses. Edward is actually someone who gets the best chart possible, or like he has some of the best levels there. And you can actually get Edward to some really insane stats if you get perfect rolls on all of them.
Looks like Zyrak is going for a little bit more of a hybrid strat, whereas Stone Dingley did a very heavily wall-based or reflect-based strat. So we will get to see basically two separate fights here, where the runners are doing kind of their own thing, which is very nice. I like the deviation. I love when the runners go and deviate from what each other did. So we will get to see a separate strat for this Z fight. And I think Sid is Sid berserked as well? I think all of his melees are berserked right now.
Entirely possible. Rosa's had enough time. I don't remember if Zyrak had picked up that one Bacchus line that we did see Stone Dingley pick up, but there was at least the one in a chest somewhere.
It was in one of the chests of the Feymarch underground. The path to the lair of summon monsters. Or the land, rather.
And Zyrak, with nothing much better to do with Palin's turn there, does use a bluff to strap an extra 16 black magic stat to Palin's side so that there's someone to bounce a spell off of that'll just be a little more powerful. It's a really nice turn utility for that choice.
People like to say that it's almost as if he grew another arm and just slapped a Stardust Rod into it.
Yep, he eventually does kind of cap out at 99 total black magic, total wisdom or will. I never remember which one it is.
Wisdom is the black magic stat, if I'm not mistaken, and then will is for white magic.
But yeah, he does cap out at a certain level because you just can't get higher than that. So he can only grow so many arms, but he can definitely grow a couple.
I mean, you can use bluff indefinitely. It's just, obviously the stats don't go up indefinitely. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
exactly. It's like he tries to grow that extra arm and keep growing it, but only goes so far.
Yeah. He can only have so many arms. Romus using that black hole is actually probably beneficial to him because now he can get everybody cured up with Rosa and not skip out on any of the healing, especially because if another big bang goes off and Sid drops, that's not going to be a good time. Oh, well, he's using a nuke on Sim instead.
Yeah, we got that direct cast nuke, so that does mean that we've refilled HP. But Rosa is able to get a Cure 4 off on everybody else. It's very nice that it did not land on Rosa. And with Sid gone, that actually increases the amount of healing each person gets because it does get divided, and Rosa doesn't have enough MP in order to get everyone to full, or enough overall white magic stat to get everyone to full without someone gone.
Did Rosa, or did Zyrak not get the, what's it called?
The life staff?
The life staff, yeah.
I think he did, but it just takes so much, especially with like Cecil having 3,000 HP and Cecil being pretty far down. Like, it actually takes an awful lot of levels and an awful lot of gear to fully heal a party of 5 in battle with one Cure 4. Like, you can get them very far, but it's hard to get them all the way up there.
That is very true. Especially since the life staff is the only thing giving Rosa that extra will. No white shirts. She does have the rune ring, but still, without a little bit of extra. Especially because the tiara gives wisdom, so...
Skyla Kitty wanting to point out that Asura appears you can have many arms. Indeed you can, just Palom can't have as many as she can.
Yeah, Palom can only dream to have as many arms as Asura does. Huh. That Big Bang animation is oddly satisfying with the Mario paint. Oh, this is a Roma sprite.
Yeah, I love all these Roma sprites that pretty much fill the screen. They're wonderful.
Yeah, there's one, I can't remember which one it is, but it like goes over the party. It's like a big spaceship from one of those shoot-em-ups. I thought it might be from Chrono Trigger. I thought it was a spaceship. Yeah, Dalton. Yes, thank you, Scala Kitty.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of the Octopath Traveler End Boss one, uh, where the horn just comes through the party and looks like it's skewering two of the members. Just a lot of fun when the party members are interacting with the Z sprite and walking all over it. It's a blast.
Yeah. Especially because you can add like your own headcanon to it, where that's like rocks are falling. That's a good sign.
It's a real good sign, especially that Cecil dodged. Rose is going to throw out a Cure 4. This is pretty much home free.
Sid and Cecil can probably take care of the rest of this on their own. Heck, Cecil can probably do it on his own with Lightsaber Berserked, even with the Cursed Ring on, because he's still doing like 2k a swing, which is a little bit more than Sid is doing. So.
Yep. And we might get a Swag White even to finish this off.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, Threemus is down to 12k HP or less when the rocks come out, because that's when it happens. But that's like a flash, a crack, and a boom, and that is Zyrak finishing the seed.
And looks like we already got Zyrak in here for a little bit of a post-game interview. So Zyrak, that was a pretty good Z fight. Did that first try, got through it pretty solidly. So nice job on the Z fight. But as far as the rest of the seed was concerned, how were your thoughts on the seed?
Seed in general was really fine. I'm fine with the decision to go after the Golbez, even though it didn't pay out and made me very sad. But other than that, I'm mostly happy with how I did it. I had a couple of small things, like I had intended to get Palin leveled on that Siren before I ever went to Troya, and I forgot about it and had to sort of do the airship trip twice, for instance, stuff like that. That I would take back. But apart from that and the one very obvious thing, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, I thought the seed was fine. Otherwise, pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I definitely like that play for Golbez. You handled it very, very well.
Yeah, the Golbez fight was amazing.
But yeah, especially knowing that you had to make sure that you got another character up with the Star Veil because it was going to run out. You didn't have quite enough in order to get through there with just one Star Veil on the person. So that was nicely handled.
It's a shame that all he had to pay out with was a Rune Axe.
Yeah, that was not what I was looking for. That's the proverbial whammy, if there ever is one, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you turned it into a decent pile of cash, but that's not the dream. Those 5 levels of cash is not what you were hoping for.
No.
That the 4 Cecils is or not 4 Cecils. I'm sorry, the 4 Sids and the 4 Canes is definitely not something that you want to see all the time, but without Atella, do you think it was worth it, or do you think you would have preferred, obviously you'd prefer to see Atella, especially with the Ordeals play, because you did Ordeals pretty early, and Stone Dingley never did Ordeals, but the character decision, or the character choices, how did you go through picking which characters to have, even though you had so few options?
So I almost took the second Rosa when she showed up. I very, very, very heavily considered it because it looked like there was a decent shot at there was going to be a melee heavy end of the game for the second source of Berserk, if nothing else. The main reason why I talked myself out of it was because in case Atella showed up, it would be hard for me to fit him into the party if I took her. So that was why I stayed on the one Rosa. As soon as that lightsaber showed up, I was like, okay, I kind of want a Cecil to show up. And as soon as I bought a Cursed Ring Underground, I was like, okay, now I'm checking all the character locations I can access. I want a Cecil. I know there's a lot of people who are on the team never Cecil, and if you do take one, you have to have 2 of them. Personal opinion is there are definitely times when a single Cecil is the correct play. In particular, when you have to take on boss fights with a lot of melee damage that you can get around with cover. Unfortunately, that never really panned out in the seed in particular, but I'm still totally fine with the play, and I think he was still going to be doing more damage than like a Kane with a Gungnir would, which would have been the second best option.
I 100% agree with you on that front, because I'm also one of the people that likes to take Cecil. So,
right,
and it's not only is he the main character, so I feel like if he's there, I might as well grab him. But having a nice agility anchor that you can reliably manipulate the agility of, especially with a dwarf axe and a cursed ring, or in your case, having the lightsaber on him for that extra damage, I definitely do like to take him in a situation where I have a nice holy sword for him. So barring the character choices, as far as the decisions to go through and do the what's it called? The key item checks in the order that you did them. Aside from doing Golbez in the Fey March, because you had the Star Veils to do it, so why not do it? How did you progress through the seed? Like what was the ideas behind going through and heading out to the places that you did at the times that you did?
So the early ordeals play was a bit of a. I kind of just intended originally just to go up and check who the character was and leave. But I think the one siren was in one of the two chests on the way up, if I recall correctly. So at that point, I decided I want to keep that. And I'm already up here, and there's a lot of character checks I have left to do. So there was a decent shot at Cecil or Atella that I want online shows up anyway, so I decided to just do it. Apart from that, I think the seed largely played out the way relatively straightforwardly. I maybe should have done Keyless Tower before Dwarf Castle. You could certainly argue that I should have done that, but I mean, apart from that, I think other than the ordeals and the Golbez plays, I think the seed more or less played itself for me in that instance.
All right.
Yeah, and so you talked about a little bit of a mistake there, and I think I know what it was that you're talking about, but do you kind of want to give us your thoughts on the Mech Giant grind in general and how you got there in specific?
Yeah, so I don't think there's another way to miss getting the fight than what I showed. It's a very instructional video on how to not get the Mech Giant, because I think I messed up every way possible. It's part of it was nerves, because I did feel behind with Golbez and Dwarf not paying out into anything in particular. And part of it was just indecision, because I was very back and forth on whether or not I should even be grinding in the first place, or whether or not I should be trying to do something low leveled. I think getting through the Crystal Altar would have put me on 8 key items, so there's 2 moon bosses there right beside each other that could easily have gotten me to 10, and I could have just ground on the moon. I was very, very indecisive, and even when I decided to go down to the Fey March and buy my Ogre Axes, I was still wondering about it the whole way, whether or not I was doing the right thing. And so I think those two things combined were what led to the missed inputs and me just lapse of concentration. And people in this tournament at this level are too good, right? You can't throw, even though I don't think I lost 20 minutes worth, which was the difference. You can't throw that kind of time away to a good opponent like Logos, right? So I kind of knew it was over, but played it out.
Yeah, I know from the booth at least we couldn't tell exactly what was going on with it, because I know that the actual chart for the Mech Giants is kind of a little bit gross and very reset heavy just as you're walking around Baron. We did see a reset out once in the Giant itself, and we were kind of wondering what happened, but hadn't seen what caused that.
I walked into the stomach, and I didn't know if that was going to mess the grind fight up or not. And so I just decided to. I probably should have just tried it and see if I got the fight, but I was pretty sure that it was going to wind up messing the RNG up, so I reset out of it. There was one time where I lost count, which was why I reset, and the time that I walked into Baron was because I was on one of those gross tiles where it's like, if you after this encounter, if you get this one's on your next one, then you need this many more kind of thing.
And when I walked Shins 4 times around a car or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I looked back over at the chart after I counted my second time to see what I had, I must have just clipped the left button on my controller and walked into town. And again, I didn't know if that was going to mess it up or not, so rather than waste time, I decided to just reset it. And then I had bad luck in there and got 3 bad seeds in a row or something. But yeah.
Yeah, but once you got into the fight, that was handled very well, and you definitely showed off why cover Cecil is very valuable. You didn't have to waste much time casting Blink or anything. He took his hits pretty well, and he was able to just cover everyone and give Rose a little bit of time off. So that was very well executed.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, it was 15 minutes of stumbling around drunk to get to the fight, but smooth as ice once I got in there. So can't complain about that part at least.
And now at 2-2, you still have 2 matches to go here, and it's looking an awful lot like a good 3-3 or a 4-2 is what's going to take it to get into the table or into the round of 16. How are you feeling so far with the tournament and where you're at?
So, my opponents, luckily for me, I guess, have largely been doing very well, so that's good. But my next race is up against Slippery, which should also be a good one. But I think the really, really big one is one of the last races, I think, is Possible Morpheus and I. And that one, I think, for both of us is a good chance it's going to be worth all the marbles. So that'll be the exciting one, for sure.
And Ivla, do you have any other questions tonight for Zyrak?
Nah, nothing in particular. He's pretty much, he's given a lot of his piece on how he felt about the seed and stuff like that. So I think I'm good to leave it there.
All right. Well, again, GG's Zyrak. You've run a great tournament so far, and looking forward to seeing those last 2 matches for you, and just seeing where everything shakes out as we figure out who's going to move on to the round of 16.
Thank you, Antidale. Just want a quick thank you to both you and Ivalon, and to Chasman and Groundflyer for running everything in the background. Always appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the great race tonight. It was an interesting one, and it was it looked like it was going to be a quick one, but it actually went on for a little bit longer than I thought.
All right, cheers, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Have a good evening. And I believe that's about to wrap it up for us tonight. We are going to head over to a Randomania. I believe Randomania Prime to watch Dathis and Xenocat battle it out for their one of their matches here in the table of flags. Please, of course, do not spoil this race. A lot of people love to watch these back when they're able to. So just go in and cheer them on Randomania. And thank you, Evelyn. There's a lot of fun commentating with you. And thank you, Groundflyer, for rolling that seed, and Chazman for doing the tracking. It's been a great night.
Thank you for sort of keeping me in check on the stuff that I might have forgotten about, or that I might have, been a little hesitant on. It's always nice to have somebody that knows their stuff helping you out with the commentary. It's been a while, so I'm glad to be back at it, and I'm definitely thankful to have a very welcoming and helpful community to sort of get me back into the swing of things.
Yep, it's always a lot of fun, and do come into the Discord. We love having new people around. We love showing people what they can do and how they can play the game and how to get a little bit better. But we are headed on over to Randomania. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great evening.